Today's enterprises demand more agility and speed from IT, and they need to closely link IT to the business to improve their complex and evolving business operations. Multiple factors are pushing organizations down a path to automate and streamline business operations to stay competitive. An increasingly stringent regulatory environment, fast-changing consumer demands, and the COVID-19 pandemic are among the key factors that have made organizations rethink how they should invest in digital to drive cost and productivity savings. Enterprises need to adapt quickly to the evolving landscape and ensure that their business flows are efficient. But observing business flows in real time is still a challenge in today's operating environment. Overall visibility across an end-to-end process is lacking, as siloed technology systems and support teams are still prevalent, and data across business functions is not well integrated. As a result, business teams lack the actionable real-time insights that are key to making business decisions in the moment and across multiple geographic regions. In this webcast, we'll discuss why enterprises need an end-to-end view of their process flows so that they know when things are going wrong, where the problem is, who is getting impacted, and what actions are required for remediation. In short, you'll learn how to get ahead of the problem before it becomes business impacting. Hello, and welcome to this video webcast titled, "The World is Changing. Do you have insights into all your business impacting issues?" Brought to you by DRYiCE software at HCL Technologies, IDC, and CIO. My name's Tom Schmidt, Digital Content Director at CIO Marketing Services, and I'll be the host of this webcast. Joining me is Alison Close, Research Manager for IDC's Worldwide Outsourcing Services team, where she leads the Worldwide Intelligence Finance and Customer Care Business Process Services practice. Hello, Ali.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Terrific. Also joining me is Ian Phillips, Business Development Lead for DRYiCE iControl. With more than 20 years of IT experience, Ian's role is to further develop business flow observability in the global market and continue to create a consulting differentiator for customers. Welcome, Ian.
Hello all, looking forward to the discussion today.
And please welcome Gareth Dury, Chief Operating Officer for Integrated and E-commerce Solutions at Paysafe Group, the multinational online payments company. Gareth has nearly 30 years of in-depth operational experience across payments and cards, having worked at Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Barclaycard, among others. Hello, Gareth.
Hi, Tom. Great to be here.
Ali, I said at the outset that enterprises need to adapt quickly to the evolving landscape and ensure that their business flows are efficient. Can you talk about the steps that different industries are taking to observe their business flows end to end?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. So I think one thing we've consistently seen, and this is kind of across industries right now, but implementations of RPA, process mining, AI-enabled RPA, and kind of implementing your kind of static basic BI reporting dashboards. So that's kind of some industry agnostic solutions that we've seen. If you look specifically in the financial services space, or even for kind of back office finance functions, we've seen a lot of those solutions be implemented for different payment processes, invoicing, or any lead to cash workflows. And then specifically, if you look at some other industries like the insurance space, we've seen a lot of those solutions be implemented for claims management or underwriting. So kind of we've seen some good adoption across those few industries. If you look at the supply chain logistics space, we've seen some control tower capabilities come to play that really work to kind of act as a command center, right, and improve visibility across workflows and processes, whether that's across businesses or modes of transportation or trade partners. So I think, one of the challenges we see with a lot of those different solutions is that they're kind of all happening in silos, right? So you have your finance function being digitized and automated. Something in procurement is happening in a different spot. Data is kind of living in different silos. And a lot of those solutions aren't really spanning across a whole organization and giving you that really good end-to-end view. And something else those solutions kind of lack right now is the business context, right? Or understanding the root cause of why processes might be failing.
Well, let me follow on that. Why is it so important to have real-time insight into the performance of business flows?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to get in getting those real time insights is so you can react immediately, right? So you want to be able to pinpoint bottlenecks and issues as they happen, and then fix them immediately versus kind of looking at historical data and have it kind of just sitting there and not being alerted to when something occurs. And I think when you think about real time visibility and what happened during COVID, I mean, COVID has definitely pushed the need to have greater visibility. If you think of something, if you're working in a procurement function, right, you're a line of business executive. So COVID hits, your orders aren't going out, your payments aren't coming in, and your contracts are being breached. It would be really helpful to know now that kind of COVID has hit, and this has kind of fueled this. You would want to know when those things are happening real time so you can fix them immediately.
Got it. Ian, what are the biggest challenges that companies face when trying to join technical and business operations together and monitoring operations and workflows?
Yeah, so generally it's the way the organizations approach the problem. It's where they generally get stuck and they get in a loop, and they spend months up to years trying to actually get visibility within the IT and the business side. And the reason for this is there's a number of different personas that are all involved, and they each have a way of determining business success, and each have their own way of scoring their metrics. And generally these metrics are not the same, but they're using the same data to be able to determine that metric. Now, if you're able to anchor the different views of the personas against a business process, you can actually see these metrics in context with each other, which gives you the insights to understand what's happening, when and where. So with that ripple-on effect that takes place within the business, you can actually get ahead of the game and start fixing the problem in real time.
Ali, how does strong observability enable faster business decision making?
That's a great question, Tom. So I think really what it enables you to do is react as bottlenecks and issues arise and then act on that, right? So it really enables you to detect and troubleshoot the root cause of an issue, act on it as it happens, and then prevent it from happening in the future. So it basically, as you get alerts, you can act as something occurs and make a decision to alleviate it immediately.
Well, speaking of the future, where is this market headed?
So I think if you look at business process services or business process management, we see really healthy growth overall in the market. I think at the worldwide level, it's growing at about a 5% 5-year CAGR. So we see some healthy growth. If you look kind of within specific horizontal areas within business process services, if it's finance and accounting, procurement, again, we see really healthy growth. Those markets are, again, growing at a 4 to 6% range in terms of 5-year growth. And a lot of the drivers in the market and why people kind of are looking for third-party help to kind of manage business processes and workflows is organizations need to optimize their business performance. They want greater process efficiencies. They want to improve speed of service delivery, and they want better visibility. So those are really the core drivers of the market right now. So it really speaks to the need for greater, visibility into workflows and business flows. Last year, we did some research at IDC, and one of the top drivers that kind of bubbled to the top of some of our questions was buyers said they really required a better link between IT and business performance. And they said the best way a service provider or a software provider or any type of third-party provider, the best way that they could help them was with process transformation, whether that was process reengineering, enabling more intelligent workflows, enabling better kind of data management and reporting, and then benchmarking. So I think, all of those drivers and kind of all those key trends we're seeing really speaks to how everyone needs greater visibility into business flows.
Exactly. Well put. Ian, can you talk about the value proposition of DRYiCE iControl? And can you discuss the importance of the built-in domain pack accelerators for various industries?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I think the way we've approached iControl is it's a very thin layer that sits across the end-to-end process, using that existing investment that everybody's made in the technology monitoring and application monitoring. And by digitizing the process flow within iControl and then assigning a set of controls at each process step, you can actually then figure out when something goes wrong, what the problem is, and the context between business and IT in that end-to-end chain. Now, as I mentioned before, organizations get stuck in this loop of trying to figure out what the approach to be able to take. So what we've gone and done is to make this whole a lot easier. We've created a set of specific domain packs that are like out of the box starter flows. And we've been able to do this because HCL covers, covers all the vertical markets and has a deep knowledge in supporting business operations. And when we've realized that once you've done one business flow in a bank or a retail organization or oil and gas, that same flow is is almost identical in the next industry of the same type, of the same department. So you can replicate these things quite quickly once you've got a base pack. And we've been able to do this in manufacturing, retail, oil, gas, life insurance, you name the industry. We now have a domain pack that actually covers that to be able to get people up and going and quickly through that discovery process within days, even rather than months and years that we've come across clients when it's taken them, that they've been spending 6 months just trying to get the process sorted out. We have that now out of the box. So there's definitely a way forward for organizations now.
Very good. Garth, I'd love to get your point of view here. How has iControl helped provide business observability to help manage your operations at Paysafe?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. We probably been very reactive in the past. We've been a lot of times we'll hear from the customer first rather than see a problem, and especially in the intermittent space. So where you see something that if a server goes down fully and nothing's transacted, obviously it's very clear and easy to see. It's not so clear if it's one particular network connection we have, or one particular bank, or one particular piece of the ecosystem. So it's really enabled us to be much more proactive, be able to see where there's problems and dig into those problems, as Ian mentioned earlier, and really try and replicate that across all of our key and critical processes. Obviously, we're a payments company, so we're real time, 24/7, 365, and we're moving data and funds around constantly. And that has a material impact to our customers, and they notice it. And they notice it real time. So we need to be in front of that if possible. And so definitely with our complexity, we have 188 million different permutations of transactions. To understand that and all of it that fits together, you can't just do that through a process flow, as Ian mentioned, or a technical process flow. You need to get that visibility across the top. So just having that and being more proactive, as I mentioned, has really enabled us to actually push our technology teams into thinking differently themselves as well on how they build monitoring and alerting in the future.
Very interesting. Has iControl helped to better align your IT and business KPIs?
It's a really good question. I would say we're not necessarily more aligned in terms of our thought processes, but what it's done is highlight where the differences were. Because before we would have very much just kept going down our own paths. And so it's brought the two together for sure. And we've really started to see the teams now work on new projects together from the start and see that as a customer issue and problem that might occur, rather than being, I've got an IT problem or I've got an operational problem. It's really starting to look at how we build our future evidence, and getting again back to that proactive element, being able to build something that we know will have challenges and issues because we rely a lot on third parties. So it's about making sure we go together as one when we build new things. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily made our IT and operations teams and business teams all go, hey, we're all together every single time, but it's made us more joined up and collaborative about future development.
Got it. Here's a double-barreled question. What are the biggest challenges that companies face when trying to join technical and business operations together and monitoring operations and workflows? And where do you see the future of business observability heading?
Yeah, the interesting one is our technical friends generally don't understand regulation. They don't understand the customer necessarily. So it's definitely about how do you educate, and bringing some of this data together and bringing the transparency and the dashboarding of iControl in has really enabled us to say, hey guys, we're all in this together. We ultimately need our customers because they make us the revenues that, you know, pay our salaries and our bonuses and give shareholder value. But most importantly, we're able to, you know, give people almost career paths with it because we're educating them and they're able to say, well, I like the business side or I like the tech side. It's really bringing the two together in that sense. But it's hard to do that. It's really hard to get those people to understand that. The biggest challenge really, though, more than anything, is educating our IT people that what they have and what they've built isn't everything. You know, they're not the magic wand, because if there was, we'd never have an issue, or our customers would be always happy. So getting them to understand that there's more to things than just a technology element of a transaction flow, that there's financial elements, there's sometimes people pressing buttons. So getting them to understand that and being part of the end-to-end maintenance and alerting has been really important. And I would say in terms of the future, you know, some of the cloud providers, for example, talk about predictive maintenance, looking at trends and things that might happen to get ahead of the game. So if you know that you've got server degradation, you can build your new server or move your cloud or whatever else it might be ahead of actually having the issue. And I think that's where these tools can help us do that. And iControl specifically can really start saying, well, actually, this connection to this bank is going down more regularly. It's having more intermittent issues. It's enabling us to see things ahead. And so if you go back 10, 15 years, there was no Slack, there was no messaging services. Those have really empowered you, but you've still got to find the issue before those messaging services happen. So if we can create something that's as good as those messaging services in the way you identify a problem before it happens or as it's happening, that's going to just make the whole resilience and operational resilience in a much better space. In a regulated market, which we play in, where the regulator is expecting that to be in place, it's just becoming more important that we get that visibility.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's webcast. I want to give a big thanks to our speakers, Alison Close of IDC, Ian Phillips of DRYiCE Software at HCL Technologies, and Gareth DRYiCE of Paysafe Group for sharing their expertise and insights with us. And thanks especially to our viewers for tuning in. Please be sure to check out the resources section on your console for links to some valuable HCL resources. For DRYiCE Software at HCL Technologies, IDC, and CIO, I'm Tom Schmidt.